unironically, there are people who want me to come over to the J Stock side. They want me to disavow Destiny, say he's a piece of shit, say that he manages his personal affairs terribly, that he's abrasive and abusive and emotionally callous and a reptile and this, that, the other. And
that just happens to be Pisco's position. That's my position, bro.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think the
that's
guilt by
definitely my
association
position.
stuff is cringe, and we used to criticize the fuck out of guilt by association a few years ago.
Sure. So do you have any problem with my moderation style?
No. As a matter of fact, I think your moderation style is looser than my moderation style. Like
really?
you tolerate
careful.
You tolerate more dickheads.
That's not what Pisco wanted to hear. Ooh, higher standard than Pisco's moderation.
Off platform conduct.
Yeah, I mean, because if that's what he's willing to do, where he's willing to touch the poo proverbially, I don't want him touching the poo in my community's name.
Well,
Are you going to moderate all off-platform behavior now?
Perhaps
they're literally all in Pisco server like a bunch of fucking rats. Yeah, they do that. They blob from like place to place, and it's just fucking weird.
And that shouldn't be a basis of surprise. Now, is it unhinged and still wrong?
Well, I think the real-life harassment, that was a weird pivot, but whatever.
I don't even agree with snarking in the first place, where you have this kind of like obsessive focus on a particular person. I have no issue saying that. But there's this thing where like two wrongs don't always make a right? Just because, and I think you would grant this, if they're lying about him, do you think that we should lie back in response?
Oh no, I don't.
Right. So
isn't lying about the motivation for a lawsuit lying about them?
Just knowing that a party is wrong.
I just have one question for you though, first, before we get started, Connor.
Yeah.
Why are you cultivating a community of snarkers in your community?
Because I don't police them enough.
Yeah. So don't you think that you have an obligation to moderate your community?
No.
Wait, what?
Wait, what are you talking about? You don't actually believe this.
Wait, hold on. No, sorry. The real answer is I don't think the people in my chat actually really are snarkers. I think I
don't know. Just answer this very simple question. How much has Doobie super chatted you in the last 3 months, would you say?
1,500.
Damn. Oh, Andy super chatting more. Wait, how much is Doobie seriously trying to buy out my entire old orbiter sphere?
$1,500. And what? You think he's just doing that for no reason?
No, he's doing that because he wants me to agree with him.
Haven't you ever stood back and thought about why these people are congregating in your community?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So why do you think that's happening?
Because if you want my no bullshit, I'm echoing. Damn, I might need to find. I don't even have headphones. Okay. Old school, you're gonna have to deal with the echo. I'm gonna have to mute myself, okay? So Pisco, just whenever you're talking, I'm gonna mute myself, and it might just take me a second to respond to you. So what I would say is, unironically, there are people who want me to come over to the J Stock side. They want me to disavow Destiny, say he's a piece of shit, say that he manages his personal affairs terribly, that he's abrasive and abusive and emotionally callous and a reptile and this, that, the other. And so as a result, those people do exist. And some of them donate, some of them don't. Then
you understand these people are literally responsible for some of the most deranged fucking stalking behavior that you would ever seen in any community, right?
Wait, are all of these people super active in all of Connor's community? I mean, if that's the case, I've never seen it before. But it could be, and maybe these people just aren't in those, and so I don't have members that send me DMs from Connor's community. But
these people will go to lengths to dox and attack people's families. They are horrible people.
But I think it's also different too, in that I feel like Connor's position on me is pretty clear, and I feel like Connor pushes back against people that have an unhinged hatred for me as well.
People that you're allowing fester in your community.
I think you would have to bring up individuals, because I've had Riled Kitten House on stream where we had a tough conversation, and then Doobie hangs out, but I don't really know of any other people besides Doobie who don't like. There's people who don't like Destiny, but they don't like Destiny, but I don't think they engage in snark behavior.
I see your chat, dude. I've seen parts of your chat where people are saying all sorts of crazy shit. And if that shit was in my chat about you, I'd be moderating that.
What?
Are we?
Wait, so he doesn't moderate stuff about me, but he does moderate about Connor? Or is Pisco role-playing as me in this conversation saying I would moderate it.
Doing a
I'm not-
thought
I'm not-
exercise? What are we doing right
I'm not
now?
telling you. I'm not telling you to ban anybody. I'm not telling, but why haven't you moderated that? Why is your community like that?
He's
I'm just
role playing as
asking you to
me.
Give me an answer.
This feels like a thought exercise, not an actual
No.
conversation.
No, I'm asking why you are cultivating snarkers. Why are you allowing snarkers into your community?
Well,
You know
number
these
one,
people
because
are
it's funny.
responsible for
But
lying
number-
and bullshitting.
No, yeah, number one, it's funny. Number two, so hold on. So for the sake of this conversation, because I don't know if we're going to wrap and this is going to be like a metaphorical point, or if we're actually going to continue with this line of conversation for the next 5 to 10
because
minutes.
role-playing is
Are
here.
we going to
Okay.
continue with this line of conversation for the next 5 to 10 minutes? Because I'll answer it earnestly. I don't care.
Answer it earnestly.
Okay. I have a relatively pretty pro free speech perspective in my chat. Matter of fact, you can be a Nazi, you can be a piece of shit, you can hate Destiny, you can have a different take on the Red Sea crisis, you can like Hassan Piker. The one thing that will actually get you banned super quick in my chat is being a smug bitch. That's like the
Okay.
fastest way.
So if
you
people
have
are
free
making-
speech,
are
but you
people are
can't be
making
smug to me.
If people are making insane accusations to people, you don't moderate that. You don't think you have a duty to moderate that and ban these people?
You'd have to give me an example, because even with like
Why? Why would I
Pisco-
have to do that? Well, I don't watch all your streams, all right? But people know. People. I mean, come on. People tell me.
I think the biggest guy who dislikes there's a couple of groypers who dislike Steven. I think that Doobie is the only person who makes points about Steven, and some of the points he makes
And
I
you
think
let him
are a
stay
little
on there, right?
hyperbolic. Hold on,
So
I'm almost done. Thank you.
You let Doobie stay in your community?
Yeah.
Okay. Why should you do that?
Well, I mean, if Steven wants to donate $1,501, then I'll ban Doobie.
Wait, really?
That's it. It's just money for you.
Yeah.
It's not cultivating the community.
I mean, it's also
of
entertaining.
Oh, okay. That's all it takes, and then you're good. So you think you fulfilled a good standard of moderation?
Yeah, I relatively speaking like freedom of speech and freedom of
Interesting.
conscience.
Interesting. You know what? I've had a change of heart, Connor. I agree with you. I think that I also.
It's kind of funny because Pixar's like trying to trap him, but I guess the two big differences in my mind are that one, well, I mean, fucking Connor's position on me is pretty clear. Like Connor is critical of things that I do, which is fine, and like he said them to me privately and he said them to me publicly. But Connor also like still like will come on my stream or hang out with me in real life, and I'm guessing, I guess I haven't seen it, and it's possible that I've just totally missed it, but I've never gotten all these DMs or crazy things of like crazy shit being said about me in Connor's chat, or you know, with Connor kind of sort of just like co-signing it or not saying much or just being like coy about it. Like Connor's being pretty honest about it, like, oh, this doobie dude donates me a fuck ton of money, but like, yeah,
like to cultivate communities with free expression and open dialogue, and I largely think that that's like okay to do, and I don't think it means that you're intentionally cultivating a community of snarkers. What do you think about that?
oh, that just happens to be Pisco's position.
I
That's
think
my position, bro.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think the
That's
guilt by
definitely my
association stuff
position.
is cringe,
True.
and we used to criticize the fuck out of guilt by association a few years ago.
Sure. So do you have any problem with my moderation style?
No. As a matter of fact, I think your moderation style is looser than my moderation style. Like
really?
you tolerate
Careful.
you tolerate more dickheads.
That's not what
at
Pisco
least as
wanted
far
to
as I
hear.
understand. There are people who piss you off to the point that I would have just banned them. Like if somebody's being like a smug, snarky bitch, and I'm not even saying snark like a drama frog who hates somebody else. I mean snark as in like they have this holier than thou attitude. A holier than thou attitude, despite me having it. I'm the streamer. You're the chatter. If you're acting holier than thou, you're getting fucking banned. So, and I think you tolerate those people, at least as far as what I've seen.
Sure. No, I
That's not his
all right,
point.
I'm gonna level with you, Connor. I was being a little bit facetious when I just interrogated you.
I
there.
figured. It sounded exactly like the line of argument
What is he asking? Fuck, I was gonna take that.
that has been used against you for still being tepidly friendly with people who dislike Steven.
Yeah, well, it depends on who you're
Tepidly friendly is a way to say it, but okay.
talking about. There are some people with whom I'm friends who I think dislike Steven, but guess what? He is
Dislike
friends with people who don't
Steven?
like me, and you have friends who don't like me, and I have friends who don't like you. And guess what? That's called human society. That's
Oh
called
my
like
God.
we're living all in a society. Now, if there are people
He's brain
who
broken,
are
guys.
using your communities to do illegal or TOS stuff or that violate your rules, I'm sure you have and will moderate that, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, the thing that Steven was talking about as far as like the worst things that have happened to him, doxing, swatting, IRL harassment, digital harassment, emails, all that kind of stuff, those would be the fastest. If somebody told me and showed me some evidence that somebody in my community had done that stuff, that's the fastest way that they're going to get banned. Just as an example, though, I will bring this up. There's the senpai, Seipa, whatever that guy's name is, who emailed that girl's family. Even if on principle, I thought that Steven should, figure out his civil case, whatever reason, like, maybe he's done some wrong things there. On principle, I would view that as touching the poo, and I would ban Seipa or Sita or whatever that guy's name is.
Ooh, higher standard than Pisco's moderation.
Off platform conduct.
Yeah, I mean, because if that's what he's willing to do, where he's willing to touch the poo proverbially, I don't want him touching the poo in my community's name.
Well,
Are you going to moderate all off-platform behavior now?
Perhaps a certain line of people that it would make sense to preemptively ban. If you are someone, for example, let's say that you don't want to wade into those kinds of issues because you've said before that there are good reasons why you shouldn't do that. I think that you would agree, given that profile of someone who doesn't want to wade into those substantive issues, perhaps, that to preemptively ban on the basis of wading into those issues would sort of counter the whole point of that person's stance, right?
I'm not sure if I fully understand you, but actually, could you say it again if you want me to understand it? Because I'm not sure if I understand it.
Assume that like there were a set of issues that you had for responsible reasons chosen not to get into, and the only basis to preemptively ban a person were to be to wade into those issues and make some kind of disposition on those issues. That to do so would itself be wading into issues in which you've been taking a principled stance not to get involved. You follow that?
Oh yeah, this is actually one of the things that happened during the Mr. Girl drama in 2022, where I actually agreed with Steven on. I think a house is a man's castle. I think a man's chat is a man's castle. I think a man's Discord and Reddit is a man's castle, and therefore, if there is a topic that somebody is repeatedly dragging towards, and it's something that you want to avoid as a community or as a streamer, then yeah, you're a king. I tell my mods all the time, if there's somebody who's pissing me off, I'm like, mods, twist his balls, and then those people get banned.
Well, I just want to say that I respect your position here. It doesn't sound like you have any problem with how I'm cultivating my community. I, however, I'm taking a look at potential issues, and so people say things to me, and so if there are DGG mods,
does the silly serious hate you now? She's always said she's a girl's girl, so I can imagine she's on Doe's side. I have no idea. I haven't communicated with her in a year or whatever is my guess. I don't know. So probably, maybe, who knows?
Who want to apply to be a mod in my community, I welcome their applications. In fact, I'm taking the time to go and seek out some mods myself, and if they would like to join the modding team in the Discord, we will entertain their applications to do so, to see what great and wonderful suggestions they can bring to the moderation team here.
My beef with your community, actually, or my beef with your content, so to speak, is actually something that makes your content more entertaining. But it's effectively like, I think that you and the liberals or whatever are playing footsie with leftist freaks who should be ultimately like yelled at and screamed at and bullied out of public life. But you doing those things makes the content more interesting. So we disagree. I think that you should take a pro-leftist bullying stance, but then I get to bully you about not bullying the leftists, and then boom,
yeah, but I don't understand what you're talking about. I just don't understand what you're talking about. Like, I play footsie. You're just talking about Mamdani AOC. That's all.
Mamdani, AOC, Vanguard, Aaron.
Wait, so you must have condemned Rokana. Did I hear you say it?
Yeah, I mean, I've said that I like Rokana for XYZ ABC, but I also don't like him for XYZ
Wait, what
ABC.
are you talking about? He just had a fucking sit down with Hassan Piker. Did you see it?
Yeah, I condemn that. Fuck him for that.
Oh, but you might still support him.
Oh my God. Pisco is torturing this analogy so much. This is the same thing that like they do on the logistical Discord server. They used to. I don't know if they do anymore. But this whole like, oh, so like, hey, my issue is your community seems to be absolutely full of people that are engaged in real life harassment, spreading crazy, disgusting rumors about me, lying about me constantly, infecting and flooding other communities and trying to get this whole community to hate me. And it's like, oh, well, didn't Ro Khanna, the congressman, talk one time to Hassan Piker, who you also think is disgusting, but you're saying you would still talk to Ro Khanna? Well, isn't that kind of the same exact thing? It's like, are you retarded, my friend? What the fuck? Hello? Really? Okay.
Do you know why I support him in his efforts in the Epstein files? The same way.
There is no through line into what you're talking about here. You will take issue with me hanging out with the Vanguard on Live and Learn when they're coming in and being grilled by Hutch and me actually opposing them. But when Ro Khanna has a fucking masturbation session with Hassan Piker, you're like, oh, I'll condemn that. You're such a hypocrite on this.
This is so retarded. It's retarded. This is so retarded.
Fuck Ro Khanna. On that, fuck you.
On that,
for hanging.
But you don't. Is he pussyfooting in the way I am?
Probably. I haven't watched the content.
Oh, holy shit! So you think he went on there on Hasanabi's podcast and was more combative than I was with Vanguard and with Hutch there on Live and Learn?
No, I doubt it. But hold on. Let me actually articulate a sentence so we can get past memes. So the thing that
I'm not memeing. This is that the previous part was a meme. This is real. I don't think that you have any good standard that you're applying here. I think that you
this is
it's
the same way.
People, yeah.
So it's the same way with Thomas Massey. Okay, Thomas Massey was Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey are both the authors of the Epstein bill. The whole reason why we are absolutely as a anti-Trump coalition annihilating the Trump administration is because of legislation that was authored and pushed through by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey. And so in that degree, they have my support. However, Thomas Massey is also like a schizophrenic fiscal conservative who legitimately believes in chemtrails. He thinks chemtrails are a thing. He's almost as crazy as Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so he doesn't have my support in that regard. And then same thing.
If it was Thomas Massey versus Ro Khanna for president, who'd you vote for?
Yeah, Thomas Massey all day.
Yeah. So then, what good is this? What good is this bullshit? You're basically suggesting
I like libertarians more than I like socialists or social democrats. Yeah,
it's Ro Khanna. He is in a tech fucking utopia over there in capitalist California.
Then he should stop playing footsie with socialists, and then maybe he'll get my vote.
Maybe your read on this podcast circuit shit, maybe that's what's fucked. Maybe you're unable to distinguish when
maybe the liberals are being fucking pussies where they have a leftist travel to an authoritarian nation that I would say has arguably demonstrated such morally egregious behavior that they're comparable to Nazi Germany before the Holocaust was discovered. And you guys are playing footsie with the guy. Maybe that's what's happening.
The thing is, maybe your analysis would hold weight if it were a Democrat that was sent there instead of Hassan Piker going there. And maybe it would work if the Democrats, I don't know, was part of this like long-standing bipartisan consensus against China. And I don't know if it weren't Joe Biden and all the Democrats who signed on to a bipartisan TikTok ban for the sole purpose of trying to stymie influence from allegedly from China. You know, some people have their other conspiracy theories about why the TikTok ban was put into place. But I would maybe take your criticism more seriously if it was, I don't know, tailored to Democrats as opposed to Hassan Piker. But the conflation between them never stops for you, does it?
Dude, if I had a map, because they do this with like Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, it would be like a red line directly from one character to another character. Okay, so saying, "How dare you, my pearls? I must clutch them. How dare you associate the Democratic Party with the extremities of Hassan Piker's rhetoric?" And
Connor's mad because people like Pisco will basically play buddy buddy with people like Hassan. Yeah.
then
something you don't
like
do. Wait, no,
the
because-
tie
no,
the tie line is Rashida
no,
Tlaib,
because-
AOC, Bernie Sanders,
it's such
Ro
garbage.
Khanna, you. Like, dude,
No,
it's so
such-
easy.
it's such
so
fucking
easy.
garbage. No,
dude,
so
all I have to
you
do
don't-
is I have to
you
take the
don't do
red
it for
string and I go
DeSantis.
like this,
You don't-
and I'm done.
You don't do it for DeSantis. You don't do it for DeSantis. You don't do it to.
Yeah, I do.
You're considering no, you fucking don't. Not with any bass in your voice. Not with any bass in your voice. You don't do it for them. That's what
Yeah,
these
I
conversations are
like
about.
conservatarians more than I like socialists. Shocking for a Republican.
Yeah, no, but what you're suggesting is a direct through line to policymakers. This is Trump in the White House, Trump with control over the government, Trump with control, a lot of exercising control over the ideology of his base, where it's clearly top down from one direction. What's that direction? MAGA, comparing to some Democrats who are using Hassan's platform to spread their message and their agenda, and who are taking his audience and clearly extracting from him. You are comparing those two relationships and saying, I'm
Yeah,
more troubled
dude,
by a
this is-
podcast appearance.
But by the way, we've already had this argument 3 times, so I don't know if I want to have it again.
Okay,
I thought you were gonna come in and you were gonna say, "Oh man, I disagree with your characterization." Well, I guess you're not watching the content, which is fine. It's fine. I don't
No, I
expect you to
do
watch my
sometimes.
content.
I was fucking around with that.
But I was what was it? I was just watching PF Young and Destiny fight over Nick Fuentes and whether or not liberalism has failed, and then also fighting about like the historical support for the Zionist vision of Israel. So that's what I thought we were going to fight about, but that's okay.
Oh no, you think I'm going to fight about Israel with you?
I mean, we could if you wanted to. Matter of fact, I have a drawing. Do you want to see my drawing?
Oh,
Oh,
finish what you
no.
were gonna say, and then we'll
Oh,
get
this
into your
poor
drawing.
guy.
Yeah. So anyways, what I've argued previously, which I still think is true, is that the right wing used excuses in order to justify their relationships with crazy people. But what happened was the crazy people were so powerful and so clouded up because they got hooked into the mainstream that as a result, they started to have to listen to the crazy people. And that's how we've ended up where we've ended up. And what's happening is I don't see that as extreme on the left wing. But whenever I bring it up in reference to the left wing, you say, oh, no. We're doing exactly what MAGA did 10 years ago, but we're different. We're built different. We're not going to fall into the trap. And I think it's fucking stupid. I think it's stupid.
I think that you just see Trump and Hassan as the same kind of figure with the same kind of influence that they have. And you're seeing this like specter that isn't a threat. It is not a threat.
Okay, I think is Hassan Piker, yes or no? Is he the largest alt media political commentator in the Western world?
No.
Who's bigger?
Asmongold.
Asmongold's bigger.
Besides Asmongold, though.
Okay, that's actually true.
You agree?
Yeah.
Is Hassan number 2?
I don't know. He's up there.
Oh my god.
Okay, he's up there. Anyways, let's just put it at top 5, top 10 or whatever.
Okay.
Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people simultaneously believing that advocating for social democratic policy and also that you should sweep for all the authoritarian socialist regimes of the 20th century is repulsive to me. Okay, disgusting.
True.
This would be like, I don't know, the Republican Party cozying up to Nazis.
True.
It would be something like that.
True.
So the fact that my
You understand
options
that the
are
fight right now in the Republican Party is,
no, I mean that's the fight.
I like how, I don't know if this is intentional or not, or maybe it is. I think one of the most kind of like tricky things that Pisco does, I don't know if this is intentional or not, is that he's so good at having conversations on like, I guess it's kind of what people accuse me of doing, funnily enough, is he has so many conversations on like process and procedure or like meta conversations that he never actually gets to the substance on anything because it's always bogged down in these stupid like meta worlds. I don't know if Pisco actually agrees that Hassan does do bad rhetoric or that the messages or the message that Hassan has is like harmful or that he simps for authoritarian regimes, because I don't know if he's ever even talked about that. I feel like he always lets people skirt past it and then he does these like weird comparisons, or he talks about, like he said this word a lot, influence. Like he's trying to say influence so that he can get to like viewership numbers or overall amount of I guess like people that agree with them so that he can skip past dealing with the Hassan question and just talk about like the conservatives, you know?
right? Because we did what I'm warning you against.
Yeah, and you know what the fight is on the Democrat Party? What's the fight right now? Kamala Harris versus Gavin Newsom versus fucking Josh Shapiro. That's the fight among Democrats.
Yeah, but dude, you always do this thing.
3 days ago. Okay. Interesting, I guess.
Like liberals and Democrats always do this thing where they're like, when we're not talking about these characters being like large in the zeitgeist, we're so ooh-woo, we're so cute, we're so kawaii, we're so small. Why are you even attacking the socialists? This, that, the other. And then when the socialists do something that's huge, you're like, well, you know, there's different things happening in America right now. Yeah, you make material excuses for it. What
power do they have? Mamdani has endorsed Hakeem Jeffries. Mamdani is building a relationship with Kathy Hochul. Mamdani is going to work within the system, and he's the best he got. And
Yeah, I still think the mainstreaming of socialism and communism is inherently poisonous. And if Mamdani governed the way that he was tweeting in 2019, then if this was the Vietnam War, then we should fight him with guns.
He would govern like Karen Bass. He would govern like any one of these other Democrats who, when they went very, very, very woke and far too left, they got fucking pummeled in the next elections, even by their own Democrats. They were, elections, taking them out of office for some of the allegations and shit and accusations.
Dude, it's the same analogy. Unfortunately, we've already had this conversation. So if you want to have it again, we can. But I do find it a little tiresome. The analogy, which I said last time we talked about this, it's like having a house cat that you just feed over and over again, and depending on how much you feed it is how big it gets. Right now, I see you guys feeding a house cat, and you say, hey, it's a house cat, don't worry about it. But what I'm saying is that if you keep feeding this house cat, it's going to become the size of a tiger, and it's going to eat your fucking face. And you're like, well, what's your evidence that if I continue to feed this house cat, it's going to eat my fucking face? Meanwhile, I'm over here, and a tiger is fucking wrapping its fucking bladed fucking teeth around my throat. And I'm like, don't do what my political team did. Don't get eaten by the tiger. And you're like, nah, I got it.
I love your...
Here's some meat.
Analogy, right?
Here's some meat. Here's some meat, little cat.
So perfect. Your analogy is so perfect, right?
Thank you.
So guys, listen to Connor's analogy, because it actually is, for once, perhaps we'll look at this drawing, but for once, Connor's analogy is great. There's a tiger around his throat, and you are over there petting a kitten. He's like, please, please stop petting the kitten.
Because I'm getting eaten by a fucking tiger, and I don't want to. I'm punching this tiger in the eye sockets repeatedly as it's mauling my throat, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna make another tiger for you to fight.
The kitten.
No. But you're like, hey, I'm gonna make another tiger for you to fight 5 to 10 years from now. Do you think fighting one tiger is fun? Do you know what's even better than one tiger? 2 tigers. So I'm gonna make another one for you to fight.
You want to know the difference about this cat? This cat has one leg. It has the cat version of, I don't want to say it. Fuck. It's a low IQ.
It's got feline
cat.
AIDS.
It's a very beautiful one. Everyone loves the cat, but the cat's not going to be a tiger. All right. It's a tabby cat. It comes as a cat.
Okay. Well, if it has 3 legs and it's got HIV, put it down. Stop petting it.
Okay. Then how about we worry about the tiger that's attacking us?
I am worried about the tiger. I'm punching it in the eyes and jamming my thumb into its eye holes. That's what I do all day.
But you're also scratching the back of the other tiger right behind it. That's also a fully grown tiger. And you're like, please save me from the little cat.
Well, that's because power.
Like, Pisco's hiding behind this weird thing of like the left have no political power and the left will never be influential in anything ever, and so it's okay. Like, that's the argument that he's putting forth. But I think his true argument, like internally, I think he thinks that the stuff they stand for isn't that bad. That like if you were to break down all the Sunpiker's beliefs, you would agree with like 98% of it, and maybe there's a little bit of problematic stuff, but that problematic stuff will never grow. That's what it sounds like his true position is. But he's trying to market it as though he's saying like, well, no, I just don't think these people will ever be politically relevant, which they might not necessarily be politically relevant, but the issue is how much of the fucking media landscape they end up poisoning, which is very unfortunate.
Pours a vacuum.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. All right,
there's good tigers and bad tigers. There's tigers that will eat my enemies, and there's tigers that will eat me.
Pisco was super quick to say Hassan was bad for his insane takes when he talked to me when I gave examples. Oh, Kalinda, I got a whole fucking thing on you. We might watch after this. I would have to see how he does it, but I feel like I'm trying to think if I've heard Pisco do this. Other people have done this. I worry sometimes that he does a thing. Is this Pisco? Am I inventing this? Someone else does it. Where somebody's like, okay, well, what do you think about like Donald Trump? Doesn't he do crazy stuff? And like, oh, no, hold on. I want to be clear. I don't support Donald Trump. I think it's really bad when he calls people bad names. I think it's terrible when he makes fun of world leaders. I think that the way that he has, conducted his personal life is abysmal, right? And it's like, okay, you did a lot of disavowing there, I guess, but like none of it was actually over the real important stuff that I would want to hear a substantive disagreement with. Now, maybe he did in the examples that you gave. I don't know. I'd have to see for Hassan, but like that would be a thing I would be curious about.
So Jen Wink, who I know is known in our community.
Yeah, she's snitching on your community. She's like, they're talking crazy shit over there.
I don't fuck. Do you think Connor isn't trying to end MAGA? No, I think Connor's trying to end Trump. Connor is considering supporting JD Vance. Considering supporting Ron DeSantis. That's MAGA. Connor is not trying to end MAGA. He just doesn't like Trump.
No, and also, yeah, you're right, because MAGA isn't going away. We've already had this conversation again.
Right. So
what motivates MAGA?
What you're trying to take MAGA and make it a little bit more palatable and be like JD Vance corporate adjacent. That's what you want. That's what you what do you want?
All right. So I'll just say it instead of asking Socratic shit. So I think that the reason why populism is working in our current political environment is because of shitty wealth inequality, rapid demographic change, existential technological shifts, and the dissolution of the social fabric. I think those are the 4 things that are motivating MAGA and motivating left-wing populists. And so as a result, I don't think MAGA, the movement that is motivated by these 4 things, I don't think they're going away. I do want a more competent, technocratic political leader to address wealth inequality, rapid demographic change, existential technological shifts, and the dissolution of the social fabric.
You just want to create an ideological framework to use MAGA. That's what you're doing.
So do you. That's politics, baby.
No, I want to destroy my enemies. That's what I want to do.
No, you don't. You want your enemies to become your friends. This is a democracy. What, you're going to get a gun and you're going to go shoot MAGA? Get the fuck out of here.
No, not fucking violently, you idiot. I want to destroy
Yeah, you want to convert them to your political tribe.
I don't. The MAGA ideology, I want to destroy that. I want it to discredit it. I want it to be out of power.
You're not going to. Matter of fact, Zoran Mondani, you know what his favorite thing was that he said during the Trump press conference where they mutually glazed each other for 45 minutes? He said, "Oh, it was actually crazy, Mr. President. People walked up to me on the streets of New York and they said that they voted for Trump in the general, but or for the presidency, but they voted for me at the city level." Do you know why? Because they're both economically populist. That's why.
Do you watch like advertising like, oh my God, I didn't know that this was better than the leading brand? It's called pandering. That's not MAGA ideology. That's the ideology I want to end. I'm not trying to talk about like rounding up people or anything.
Okay, are you trying? Okay, I'm trying to end economic populism. You know why? I want the people to be so happy that they don't even want economic populism. That's what I want. I want to design a technocratically competent society to the point that the working class and middle class don't want to rebel because they actually like their lives. I want to lull the proletarian class to sleep. I don't want them to be revolutionary. I want the proletarian class to work 40 to 50 hours a week. I want their wife to not work at all or work part-time. I want them to be able to afford a reasonable standard of living and afford having children. And I want their kids to go to good schools, and I want their kids to have decent economic opportunities to the point that the slumbering proletarian giant, that Hassan Piker and Zoran Mondani want to shake awake to the point that they can overthrow the economic system. I want to pet that giant's back until he's lulled into beautiful sleep.
So if that's the case, what's wrong with Ro Khanna going on to Hassan's stream to lull the populist tiger asleep?
Well, I have to actually watch the content.
Oh, so there's nothing inherently wrong with going on Hassan and doing a little belly rub as long as you're trying to lull the populist tiger to sleep. Isn't that what you're doing?
Okay, but is he smart enough to do that? Because most of you guys are not smart enough to do that.
Fuck you. This is all ad hoc. You're inventing new things. When you realize...
Like, Pisco's saying this, he's doing this now. Like, you're inventing new things. But, like, if Pisco's being good faith, like, this is always the case, right? Like, when you talk about, like, bad platforming of people, or you talk about agreeing or disagreeing with somebody showing up on somebody's stream, obviously that's going to be contingent on the interaction, right? Like, if Connor super fucking hated Ro Khanna because of some things that he stood for or some things that he said, and he's like, well, Ro Khanna was on Destiny's stream, and when Ro Khanna comes on my stream, it's just me arguing with... Ro Khanna the entire time disagreeing with everything, obviously Connor's not going to have a huge problem with that, right? But if it's me glazing him or agreeing with him on everything, then Connor's probably going to have a much larger problem with that. But that's almost like obvious, like that's like a given. So to sit here and pretend that like, oh wait, so now you're saying it depends on the interaction, it's like, come on, obviously.
Your entire framework for what you're talking about is absolutely compatible with having amicable podcasts with lefties you don't like. You're like,
see, now he's... Pisco just added that part. Amicable podcasts, right? Well, hold on. Are you talking about... What do you mean by amicable? Does that mean glaze sessions? Where you guys are just there glazing each other? Or does it mean debates? Or does it just mean chatting about stuff you just happen to not... Like, what does that mean, right?
Shit, I have to come up with some other reason to distinguish my criticism of Pisco and all these.
No, I don't.
The Vanguard.
No, I think this is bullshit.
It is.
Not only. No,
it is
this is total bullshit because I said in reference to the Vanguard thing, nobody gives a fuck that you're talking to the Vanguard. Nobody would give a fuck if you went onto Hassan Piker. The question is whether or not you would actually differentiate your positions to the point that you guys don't seem like you're friends.
Yep, true.
That was the criticism.
Yep.
Wait a second. So the Hassan, we'll talk about whether that's a criticism that's the last. Does Hassan's base, do the people who watch him, do they have genuine economic concerns and genuine like things that we ought to appeal to? Okay. So then what exactly is wrong? If it's okay for Mamdani to go to the, and I think it's fine for him to go to the White House as an envoy of New York City, meeting with the purported president of the United States, and to have this little conversation and to kind of signal and do the kind of virtue signal of, oh, everyone cares about the same shit type deal that every politician does. What's wrong with that for lefties and for libs trying to actually bring into the fold the more populist and disaffected members of the left?
Because that's like being in 39 Germany and being like, you know, There's this socialist critic of Adolf Hitler, and he went up to Berlin, and then he was kind of, he talked some crazy shit about Hitler like a few times, and he still said that he has those beliefs. But realistically, he was cozying up to Hitler in 39 because he wants some territorial concessions. He wants Hitler to let him keep a few Jews. He wants Hitler to give him some like redistributive economic policy so he can implement the socialist agenda. And so that's like the question. This is why a lot of people get frustrated with the left, is like, is Donald Trump a megalomaniacal, incompetent, degenerate freak who is killing hundreds of thousands of people through incompetence and who is fascistic in his political leanings, or is he somebody that you need to kiss the ring for in order to get concessions?
Yeah, I see. Like, whenever you get the chance to frame it, sure. Now you can make the historical analogy, and Rokana and me and all these people, we're not trying to appeal to the disaffected people with genuine concerns that are fueling these movements. We are like, I don't know, the failing politicians.
You might be, but you're getting like sock puppeted.
Okay, who's getting sock puppeted? What basis are you to say? Why don't I say you're getting sock puppeted by the Teolite, Yardonite class of fucking techno?
You're right. I'm being raped by a tiger right now, Pisco. I am being sodomized by a giant tiger, and I am saying, Pisco, look out, that house cat might become a giant tiger and start to sodomize you. And you're like, no, it's fine, I'll keep feeding it. It's totally fine.
But
I will not be sodomized by the tiger.
But you're also scratching the bottom of the tiger's chin, who's currently graping.
It's a different tiger.
Let me finish it. Wait, no. You're scratching his chin and saying, "Daddy, chill." That's what you're doing.
Damn.
That's what you're doing.
Well,
and meanwhile, yes, that's what.
Maybe the tiger has some good ideas in some points.
All right, I mean, okay. Prediction time. If I were to ever to collab with Hassan, what would the reaction be on any?
It depends on how hard you went. If you guys are like best buddies and yucking it up and having a good time, it would be you're a liberal trait. I'm about to finish the fucking sentence that you're probably asking for. You're a liberal traitor who's sucking up to Hassan in order to steal some of his audience. You're a clout demon who doesn't care how far left your audience goes.
Right.
That would be it, unless it was a contentious conversation.
If it were a friendly conversation, like I'm having.
If it was a friendly conversation, people would accuse you of being a clout demon trying to steal the lefty audience because you don't care about the ideology or the principles. You just care about growing your audience. By the way, I heard this criticism when you were going on.
Does he have a response to that, or
with Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske?
Breaking points. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm just describing what the criticism would be.
I think that what some people are proposing is a complete fortress arc for liberals, and not to talk to in friendly manners with people with whom they disagree. And I can understand that for certain types of people. I can I have that thought with the MAGA people. I guess I just see MAGA as worse than you do. I guess I think MAGA is worse than what a lot of people think.
Dude, I spend 70% of my time bitching about MAGA. What are we talking about here?
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying
I spend 70% of my time saying I'm currently being sodomized by a tiger, and I really wish he would get out of my butthole. Like what? But
also,
what are we doing?
Also, daddy chill. But also, daddy chill, and maybe I'll, maybe you're.
But okay, do you think? So hold on. This is actually an interesting part of the conversation. This is an interesting part of the conversation. So I believe in Burkean conservatism, which basically means deferring to the status quo, but and then criticizing and needling progressives and liberals, and implementing the good ideas and getting rid of the bad ideas. That's Burkean conservatism. Okay. Now liberalism.
Wait, can you just repeat the last part of that? So Burkean conservatism is all that plus getting rid of bad ideas and getting good ideas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the as an example, though, liberalism is oftentimes rooted in maximal human freedom. We just disagree on where those lines are. Here's a silly, but I think informative mind exercise. Let's say that you could generate, I'll just use sanitized terms for the sake of the conversation. Let's say that you could generate illicit pornography from AI
Jesus Christ.
that did not technically hurt anyone. My argument would be, this is bad for your brain. It's bad for neuroplasticity. Even if you don't harm any other people, you're technically harming yourself. There's sexual reasons why we prohibit these behaviors. Blah, blah, blah.
Any more than regular porn?
It's supposed to be child porn, is what Connor was supposed to say, I think, right?
Commercial, consensual porn?
Is illicit pornography. I'm proud. If I'm unclear, I'm talking about child pornography.
Yes, yeah.
I was just using sanitized.
You're talking about AI deepfakes.
No, I'm talking about let's move it to the most extreme example just for the sake of the example.
Always.
So with this most extreme example, technically nobody's getting hurt except for the person, and we could change it to drugs if that makes you more comfortable. Technically nobody is getting hurt except for the person who's involving themselves. If you are to impose a state limit on their behavior, you're imposing on them from the state, and arguably the harm from the state, being incarcerated, fines, social stigma, all that kind of stuff, that's going to be super bad for the individual. So I guess my question to you is, I can appeal to a conservative reason for why this behavior should be prohibited. What is your liberal rationale? Do you believe that this behavior should be prohibited? And then if so, why, from your liberal framework?
So I'm not sure that I have a strong stance on the exact fact pattern that you're talking about.
You could go with hard drugs if that makes it easier.
No. But let me contend with it. I'm not one to shy away from hypotheticals in that context. I think that there is definitely a liberal framework to deal with these kinds of things because, of course, notwithstanding liberty, unless you're some kind of like dipshit libertarians, the very ones that you want to fucking put in office, you believe in ordered liberty and constitutional liberty, and that of course conceptualizes a notion of harm to self. In fact, I think that notwithstanding the herd immunity aspects to like vaccination things, I think that there's an independent government interest in one's.
Okay. We're gonna let me use the restroom. We're gonna go over some. We're gonna get a schizo thing. Okay, hold on. After this.
Self. Now, ultimately, I think that there's a big showing the government needs to show for a huge infringement on a protected core liberty. I do think that the per se banning of CSAM is justified under a theory of production harm, and that production harm relates to actual children being abused. And so, I do think that the current framework for that banning doesn't apply to the AI stuff. However, there are notions of obscenity. And I think at some level, I would agree with certain levels of banning of obscenity. And that is certain content that is so depraved, so out there to be commercialized that the government has an interest, not just in terms of production harm, but an interest in, in societal, individuals, mental health, that kind of stuff. An actual government ban, though, I'm not sure that I would go that far. I have such a strong value for free inquiry, free speech, and these kinds of rights. I'm concerned not about the particular content that might be produced, but about who decides the line. And I think that if I am going to draw a line, I want it to be based on objective and neutral criteria, and mere disgust that I don't know is going to cross the line for a per se ban. Would I ban sort of like public broadcast of it? Yes, 100%. Would I try to regulate it? Yes, for sure. But I'm not sure. I would need more facts about the harms related to it. But that's kind of my preliminary take. Tell me what you think.
That's perfectly fine. And I'll get to what I'm actually trying to illustrate. So there are things that, like, and by the way, I just disagree with you here. So it's not a question of I think you're a bad guy or I'm going to moral frog about it or whatever. I think that disgust can be something that motivates our rationalizations for why we engage in certain behaviors or prohibit certain behaviors.
No, sorry, you didn't hear me. You did not hear me. So I'm not saying that doesn't occur. That of course, disgust will of course motivate one's behavior. The question is, do I trust the government itself as a powers concern to do these line drawings instead of things like production harm, instead of things like defamatory statements, instead of things like the proximity in terms of incitement, instead of things like harassment, we're dealing with privacy or intentional infliction of fear, to do it on disgust itself. It's not a question of whether or not it rationally motivates action. I agree with you that it does. The question is, do we trust the government to draw lines of disgust? Because once we allow subjective disgust to be something that the government controls, well, I'm disgusted by communism. I'm disgusted by fascism. I'm disgusted by a great many of ideologies that I can directly tie to harm. That's what I'm concerned about. Not that I think that this is good stuff or that I think that it's something that people should consume. It's a question of institutional competency. Is the government the right person to enforce restrictions on speech that are ultimately just premised on disgust by itself?
Sure. You're like the last true liberal. But let's let me ask another question that I think, and I'll tell you where I'm going before we even go there. That way we don't have to spend time. And people are like, where's Connor going? He's talking so much and saying nothing. Hey, fuck you, chatter, by the way, whoever says that, eat a dick.
I do that too, so we're good.
Excellent. So they should be used to it. What I was going to say is the point of what I'm asking is that I don't think liberalism is an excellent place to start. Okay. Liberalism emphasizes the sovereignty of the individual. It emphasizes our conscious experience. It focuses on dignity. It focuses on making sure that the powers that be don't abuse the individual in the name of the public good. It sets reasonable limitations on the actions of the government. Liberalism is an excellent place to start. However, I do think that it's insufficient for a good human life. And I think that morality and like philosophy, religion, all these kinds of things, and some of these are nested in political persuasions like social conservatism. So that's where I feel like liberalism is insufficient and you have to turn to these other things. And so I want to ask you a socially conservative rooted. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, liberalism is not a philosophy that is pretending to be a theory of everything with respect to morality. It is a structure of or a framework for looking at rights and a framework for looking about the relationship between the state and the people. I mean, that's what it is, and it isn't anything more.
Yeah. So, but I want to ask you something that might be rooted a little bit more in a social conservative perspective. So, with social conservatism, the social promotion of like what they would believe is pro-social behavior that's rooted in religion. I view religion as I'm not a literalist. Okay, I'm not a literalist. I'm a deist. I believe in a creative force that set things in order, but I don't really believe in an afterlife. I don't think Jesus is the Messiah. I think effectively it's a mythology. But I think that this mythology is important, and I see arslers in my chat constantly arguing that we can totally ignore religion as a vehicle for morality, and yet they're totally lost degenerates themselves. And so I guess my question is like, what is your perception of religion? Are you completely hostile to it? Do you view it as a necessary evil? Do you view it as a vehicle for morality? What's your perception of it?
I take a Marxian view on religion. Religion is the side of the oppressed creature.
It's the opiate of the masses.
Listen, I'm not fucking around. Listen, I ultimately view religion and mythologies and myth making as human beings attempt to explain that which they cannot explain, and to produce meaning where there is fear and uncertainty. I think that fear is almost defined by uncertainty. Uncertainty, in other words, is fear. Why are you like afraid of the dark? Because you don't know what's behind it, right? Like fear and uncertainty go one and one. And I think religion is a term that is meant to capture humans' various different attempts to explain phenomena, explain value, explain meaning. And as such, I don't think it's really helpful to say something like religion is bad or religion is good generally, unless you're being a little bit more specific about what you mean. If what you mean by religion is bad or something is just like closed systems of thought are bad, maybe I could say that's kind of like it's my preference. It's my preference. I think that those kinds of closed systems of thoughts that most religions inhabit aren't net good. I don't think that they're net good. There are aspects about certain religious philosophies, certain religious communities that are very positive. I think that one thing that secular communities often, though it's not necessary they don't have this, but they do lack, is a sense of community. That's not all. I just want to say that sometimes I feel that there is a shared sense of ritual, a shared sense of togetherness, of peoplehood that is lost absent some of these traditions and rituals. But I think that is, you don't need religion for that stuff, for this kind of very innate form of human societal, almost a kind of like grooming, a grooming within the tribe. So my answer to that is, it depends. I think that religion has been the cause of a lot of harm over the course of years. It's been the cause of some good. And ultimately, I don't think it should guide our lives.
Yeah, so I have a more positive view of religion where, once again, not a literalist, but I was raised in the church. I went to church every Sunday, went to plenty of Sunday schools. And there's just things that are, I think we could look at it from like a utilitarian level and basically say like, is this pro-social behavior that we want to engender in our society? And we can make it as simple as like the 10 Commandments, right? That thou shalt not steal. Do we want a society that accepts or promotes or looks the other way in reference to theft? Probably not, right? Same thing with, thou shalt not lie. So do we want a society in which lying is commonplace, misrepresenting the truth in order to gain social benefit? And these societies exist, by the way. That's like another thing.
Yeah, so why does God lie all the time? And why does, and also you're picking some of the more general features of how human societies have always, like, find me a human society where theft is allowed or encouraged. Find me where lying.
There's kleptocratic society. I mean, Russia is a perfect example of a kleptocratic society.
Okay, what I mean though, there is like, yeah, in that situation, there's such a power disparity that you're just able to take. But even among equals, there are still ways in which people can get like, think about Nazi Germany, right? Even Nazi Germany, there were ways in which people on the same class, when the state wasn't intervening, for them to settle these kind of property disputes. And in general, they run their society among equals, right? Among people of the same sphere, among silverbacks versus silverbacks, among the oligarchs versus oligarchs, where theft is wrong and stealing is wrong among equals. So I grant you that, but I'm just saying the harder ones to justify are like, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods or wife. Like, isn't that the basis for capitalism? At least the goods part. So I don't.
Well, hold on. Because I think specifically it is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. And there's actually like an evolutionary psychology explaining to this that I actually enjoy a lot. So it's believed that the 10 Commandments were effectively Moses getting, because he was the tribal chieftain of Israel when they were leaving Egypt and going into Israel and Judea, right? Or what would be Israel and Judea. And so the argument is that, like, well, tribal chieftains were the people who were deciding disputes. And so the 10 Commandments are not so much actually God telling Moses to tell the people what the 10 best rules are in order to live life. It's actually Moses getting sick of resolving the same disputes over and over and over and over again. So he codified them in writing so his people would prevent most of the shit. But dude, this is the basis of common law.
Wait. I know, but we can make a better list.
We can make a better list, for sure. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't view, because for me, I'm like a history nerd. I am in awe of the fact that if you look at, Roman common law, or if you look at Greek common law, or if you look at Christian common law, you can effectively draw like a civilizational temporal line all the way back to, ancient Egypt and Judea and Samaria. That's amazing. It's amazing that we have these concepts of law,
cool.
legal dispute, and justice that go back like 3,500 years.
But my question for you is the one that the teachers always ask. So what?
It's dope, and you should. No, you should.
I think it's dope. No, I agree it's dope. But like, why?
But also Chesterton's fence. So are you familiar with somebody introduced me to it a couple of weeks ago? Are you aware of the concept of Chesterton's fence?
No.
Okay. So I think it's actually like a legalistic concept, but the whole point is you don't remove a fence unless you know what it blocks out. Okay. And this is like an inherently conservative view. And what I would say is that some of the tension between conservatives and liberals right now is we feel like liberals and progressives have just blasted away all the fences, and they were like, we don't need any of this shit. And so as a result, we're getting, old problems that were previously prohibited.
Yeah, but religion is compatible with liberalism. I don't understand.
This might be a different point. So
maybe I'm not understanding. So people will say that like liberalism is the reason this or that. Like, prove it. It seems like for the longest time, most of our societies, even now, the politicians are mostly religious. The people in charge are mostly religious. We still have a prayer at every single congressional session. Most societies, they even have like, Germany, the Christian Democratic Party. Our societies are religious. And if you look back further in time, there have been plenty of liberal societies that have been largely religious. In the UK, the head of the state, the king, is also the head of the church, of the Anglican Church. So I don't understand this notion that liberalism is the antithesis to religion. Liberalism is compatible with religious thought and religious belief and religious practice.
Well, I don't even know if this is necessarily true. And I'm pretty sure if I look up the stats on secularization and church attendance, effectively it's gone from like in the past 2 or 3 generations, like probably early 20th century.
Yeah, but why is that
church attendance was at like weekly 90%.
Yeah, so why is that liberalism's fault?
Now it's the inverse.
But that's just correlation.
Sure. And by the way, I'm not arguing that everybody needs to return to church. I don't go to church weekly. The point is though that like there's, in reference to Chesterton's fence, let me just revisit that so I can try to make the point that I'm trying to make, is that there's times that we can take down the fence. And I think that we should have a sober, sane, rational, intellectual conversation about when we could take down the fence, right? So in reference to homosexuality, let's use this as an example. The reason why people probably put up the fence in the ancient world was because we didn't have the same level of like sanitary practices that we have in the modern day. We didn't have condoms to the same degree that we do. We didn't have like the same level of like
in
sex.
Greece and Japan, they had gay stuff there.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But the Jewish, the Abrahamic prohibition against homosexuality was likely a correlation with disease. Same thing with like shellfish and pig, right?
You need to prove that.
No, I don't. So because just take it as a. What do you? I don't even want to get into this because like, why do you think shellfish were prohibited in the ancient world? It's because Frank ate a shellfish and he had an allergic reaction and he fucking died. Why was pork prohibited in the ancient world? It's because it was improperly cooked and they fucking died. That's why that shit was prohibited.
You're just saying it. Why did they take people's? Why did they circumcise? People take people's foreskins off.
Because Abraham had a weird looking dick. He had phimosis.
It's your false contention or I don't know assumption that religious beliefs are premised on some kind of underlying rational set of inferences and practices.
Yeah, phimosis. Yeah. Abraham probably had a weird looking dick.
No, but that is pure aesthetics. That would belie your notion that there's some like underlying.
No, phimosis is a real medical condition that can be painful. When the hood of your foreskin fuses to your dick tip and then your penis continues to grow, or gets boners, it's painful. Yeah, this is like a real medical condition that occurs in like 2 to 10% of the population.
And circumcision cannot be the cause of infection and disease and stuff, especially back in the day with older.
No, it can be, but a properly done circumcision can prevent phimosis.
Okay, and what is it really your contention that the religious practices from the Bible are based in some rational or logical set of choices that support human flourishing in some kind?
They're not purely rational, but I do think that they oftentimes are rooted in a level of like observation of like moral action and their consequences, of course.
All right, I don't know what justifies that inference. You're just assuming it. Fair?
No, no, it's actually perfectly rational. So sorry, Muhammad, peace be upon him, okay? When he came into the pagan Arabian world that was a part of the Eastern Roman Empire, which was largely Christian, in his pagan sect of the world, female infanticide was still practiced. And so if people had children and they were women, because of inheritance laws, they would take the infants, they would put them inside clay pots, they would walk them out to the desert, and they would kill them through exposure.
This was the
and so hold on, there's an
there's
an evolutionary psychological reason why people would do that, but there's also a reason why, because Muhammad, peace be upon him, would sympathize and empathize with the women who are being killed, and therefore come up with a social prohibition against that practice as a part of his religion. It was a moral analysis of real facts. So like how are you disconnecting? How are you saying every religious prescription is completely irrational? Because that's what it's...
that. No, well, I'm not saying that they're all irrational.
Well, you're saying prove every religious prescription is rational.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in any given instance, I think it's the burden of proof on the person promoting it to suggest that the origin of it comes from some ultimately
improperly cooked pork. Follow me down this logic train, because this is actually frustrating, because I don't even think this is like the... Can you, because we were talking about homosexuality and we were talking about Chesterton's fence, right? That was the original thing. Okay, so let's get back to that real quick. So human sexual sanitary practices in the ancient world are probably not what they are today. Okay. And in the past 200 years, we have invented condoms, douches, indoor plumbing, although arguably that was around at the time, but obviously we've enhanced it a lot in the past 2 centuries. We have all these enhancements that have technologically allowed us to get over the sanitary practices that were, or excuse me, the lack of sanitary practices that made homosexuality potentially deadly in the ancient world. Okay. So what we can do from a Chesterton's fence analysis is we can say homosexuality was prohibited, not because it was like a intelligent understanding of human nature and the divine creator of the world gave us this prohibition because gay people are gross. We can say this was likely an evolutionary psychological argument that we have surpassed through technology. And therefore we can remove this fence.
This is heresy. This is revisionism. This is heresy.
Correct. I'm not a religious literalist.
Okay, but all you're doing, right? All you're doing is, and you think you're smarter than everyone, is you are editing what they take to be the inherent word of God, or at least divinely inspired word of God. And so, like, you're saying, I know what these people meant. I know what.
Correct.
Okay, but that would be anathema to any religious person who was serious about their conviction.
Yeah, it would be anathema to any literalist. Anybody who thinks that the planet is 6,000 years old, anybody who thinks that Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Moses or whatever, they literally heard the voice of the creator of the universe, that you're right. This would be against their beliefs. Correct. But I think that
to edit the Bible with a scalpel, I'm just going to do the same thing.
Yeah, but yours is worse than mine.
Okay, so it all gets ground down into a moral argument. So what do we need the religion for?
Correct. No, because of a conservative perspective, which effectively says there's a reason why we created these fences and created these rules.
Okay.
And the hubris, hold on, the hubris of modern people is believing, somebody said it, there are no fences, there are no rules. We can create we can recreate everything.
In any given instance, basically, are you talking about burdens here? So burdens. Who has the burden to show to bring down the fence? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I'm saying that, yeah, it's incumbent upon progressives and liberals who want to bring down a fence to argue why it will not cause a disaster.
All right, so fine. I could even say that I agree with that you're building from a structure, not for the religious kind of extrapolations that you've had, but this notion of something that has undergirded our society. If we're going to change something in a radical way, there should be reasons for it, and the people who want to get rid of it should produce those reasons. That's fine as an assumption. I'm not against that assumption. I think it's weird how you're tying it into the doctrine itself, but fine, if you want to go that way, you can go ahead. I don't understand what it has to do with fucking liberalism, because liberalism doesn't make prescriptions of those kinds. It's not liberals who have, from the perspective of liberalism, the framework, the structure, they're perhaps people who are consider themselves liberals who have attacked religion and what have you, but the structure of liberalism is totally compatible with religious ideology, with religious thought. And so in what sense are you attacking liberalism for the fault of lack of religiosity or what have you? Given two things, given the fact that religious thought is compatible with it, and there's nothing, in fact, it would be incompatible with liberalism for the government actively to go against religion. That it would be, in other words, freedom of religion.
Okay. Did I miss anything good here? I don't have my speakers on. Pisco freaks out at Connor for using AI later. Why? All right. I'm trying to like plot out, because when I write my manifesto on this, I have to include other communities, but I have to try to write it in a way that it clearly communicates the level of like weirdo coordination harassment going on without coming off as like Insanely fucking schizo. Please finish this. It gets insanely absurd. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. I saw the Kalinda person in my chat, and this reminded me of this. I think Kalinda is generally I think a loner box orbiter? Orbiter, a chatter person?
Belinda, how are you? Can you hear me?
This is 6 days ago.
Hi. Pisco audio issues.
Yeah.
Gotta happen
Every time. Hit me.
Well, the last time I was here, if I recall, actually, you know what? If you don't mind, and I don't want to spend too much time on this,
I've been in your committee since 2017 also. Gotcha.
because honestly, I'm about as sick of it as you probably are.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about the Ethan Klein lawsuit shit.
Yeah.
Because that owner had an interesting idea that he really wanted
Owner?
to put it. I guess that he just, yes, loner box.
Loner. I thought you said Gooner had an idea.
Yeah. No, boner box.
Okay, got a boner.
Gooner box. Yeah. He had an interesting idea about it. So I just have a hypothetical for you, okay?
Yeah.
And I might even add a little bit to it. So you know how Ethan called you a fake lawyer? I think he did that, didn't he?
He did not call me a fake lawyer specifically, but I think he implied it.
Okay. Well, let's say that
He said I was like
Ethan
LARPing,
decided-
but I think it's implied.
Okay, that was Let's say that Ethan decided to do that, to continuously call you that, like to literally call you a fake lawyer.
Yeah.
And like, let's say that he decided to cover you and react to you over and over again continuously, or like comment on shit that let's say that he would decide to go after you as obsessively as they say that he goes after Hassan. Okay.
Yep.
And then after that, you come out with some video about something, maybe something related to him actually, and he announces to his stream, and he's like, you know what? Fuck Pisco. I hate this guy. He's a fake lawyer. And we're going to watch this video. And I want you to come watch it on my stream so that I can take all his views away. Fuck him. And because I don't want him to make any ad revenue or money from this. And then he does it. Do you really think that you wouldn't be within your bounds to sue him for copyright infringement after he said all that shit?
When you say
yourself?
When you say within your bounds, what are you referring to? Legality, morality, or what?
I mean, like, I guess what I'm asking is would you want to sue him for copyright infringement and also represent yourself while doing it, so you could, as a fuck you to him? Is that something that you see yourself doing?
If you're asking me whether practically I would file a lawsuit on that basis, almost certainly not. But I'm assuming that's not what you're asking. I'm assuming you're asking me, like, if I wanted to file a lawsuit, would I be justified in doing so? I'm telling you, like,
Yes.
I would be probably more likely to do a DMCA thing or something like that if I was really
I was promised schizo time. We're getting there. We'll just spend like 10 minutes of this, okay?
pissed about it or pissed about him doing shit like that. But just be aware of what question you're asking me, because it might just be obviated by some other predominating concern, which is, I don't want to fucking file a lawsuit for some shit I don't really care that much about, which is him being petty towards me. But if you want to ask something different, which is, if I did, would it be justified? Then ask that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was Loner's question technically, so, but I thought it was a good question.
What's the question?
Like, that was mainly the question that the thing that he was getting at was like, would you not be justified in filing a lawsuit against somebody who had basically spent like the past several months? And actually, I guess you could further even add to it. And like every time you had a stream, his fans were showing up in your chat and like spamming shit or whatever.
Yeah.
So like further. Yeah.
You're asking, would it be justified on that view, right? And my answer is, if I didn't care about the underlying infringement or preventing infringement, I think the answer is no.
Okay. I mean, would you care? I wonder if you would, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe you might just a little bit, or like you might be annoyed at the
There
fact
might
that
be some infringement. There might be some infringement that I cared about. But if I didn't care about the infringement, if I don't actually feel like the infringement matters to me, in fact, if I want the infringement, I don't think I would be ethically justified. If that's what you're asking, is that what you're asking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is, I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
because I can
don't
just.
know.
This is so trivial because if we change this to Lonerbox and Hassan, everyone understands. Okay. So if you have seen Lonerbox do reviews of Hassan's content in which he's like not doing much in the given moment, right? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah. Although, yeah. I
Yes.
guess so. I mean, Lonerbox's reacts always. But yes, I understand what you're saying. You're going to say that basically, technically, like any React content, you could sue for copyright infringement. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I'm not saying that you can sue for copyright infringement. We're just talking now about the justification, all right? The justification. Like, if Hassan sued Lonerbox for those instances, you would say, right, it's not justified. Assuming he didn't care about the infringement. Yeah. Assuming he didn't care about the infringement. Assuming that he is saying, oh, I'm only suing him to support the socialist Marxist revolution, and all the proceeds I'm going to do, and he's lying, or like, is to that end or something. And it's to protect the React community, the socialist React community. If he said something like that, and if you didn't think that he actually cared about the copyright, would you say, yeah, that's totally ethically justified for him to sue my boy Loner?
Well, no, I wouldn't. But I would also add to that. I would also say, fuck that, because I would. I mean, this is going beyond the bounds of your hypothetical, because I would say that what Loner does counts as fair use. And to be honest with you, like
all of it, you think?
Yeah, given the length.
That's
of her
delusional.
I feel like,
That's delusional.
I feel like, oh, is that not true? Like, is that not? I don't know how fair use works. So.
I've seen Loner Box streams where he's reviewing the content and like sporadically commenting in between like playing a video game where it's okay, it's a step up from like a chair react, but on fair use grounds, it's fucking cooked.
Okay. You're talking about stuff like that, okay.
Yeah.
Usually when he reacts to a song, he has a lot to say.
Just as a quick thing, Pisco has no idea if that's cooked or not. Nobody really knows. I don't know if any of this has ever been tested in court before, but...
Not always, though. What I'm saying is not always. In the case in which he's not doing that, when it's not fair use, that's the case in which we want to examine. And the truth is, and you know, and I want you to grant it, if the roles were reversed, everyone would be on the opposite side. You must agree with that, right? 95%. I won't say everybody. 95.
Or you mean like all the people that are shitting on you right now?
Correct. If I was shitting on his...
Yeah.
Of course. And so what does that tell you? It's Kalinda, right?
Yes. Well, no, I know. I understand. Like,
yes. So,
no, I get it. So
it's not principled, right? It's not principled. They're not principled. I'm principled. They're not. They're inventing some shit. They're inventing some shit about intentional malicious siphoning and all that stuff. That's all made up.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I'll be honest with you. I just want to ask you that question because I thought that it was interesting that Loner put it to it. I'll be like, I don't actually care that much about the Ethan Klein lawsuit and whatever his underlying motivation shit was or whatever.
I appreciate you saying no, that's fine. You don't have to care about everything. But this is why I ask people, and I get glad with this too, if they care about it. Because if you don't care about it, that's cool. The thing is, people do care about it. They very, very much care about it. The fact they're talking about it, and they're so pissed, they're calling me tanky sports, they care about it. And the reason I ask if you care is because people will say they don't care. But the truth is, Kalinda, your lack of care is, just be honest, it's because you don't like these people. If you liked them, you would care, right?
No, I mean, I don't care that much about Ethan's motivation, and like, I don't even know if like I support the lawsuits or whatever. The thing that I care about within this whole thing is the extent to which that Ethan has been harassed. And I'm not saying that you're doing this, what I'm about to say, but unfortunately, a lot of the people, and I think maybe this is why I got roped into this, a lot of the people who are supporting or who are against Ethan filing the lawsuits or whatever are people who are against it on the grounds that they also like deny the severity of the harassment that Ethan has faced and like the craziness behind it and the reasons behind that harassment, or they're okay with it because they think that Ethan is an evil, disgusting Zionist genocide supporter and that his wife is like the raider of Ramallah and all this other insane shit. Like, I care a little bit more about like the way in which everybody basically came at him because he did not toe the line 100%.
He didn't deserve that criticism, right? He didn't deserve those kinds of attacks.
No, I don't think that he deserved that criticism, and I feel like it was a waste of like it just, I guess it said so much about the online left if this was going to be their focus, attacking a liberal over this dumb shit instead of like trying to do something.
But doesn't everyone kind of fucking know that lefties are cooked as fuck on the Israel stuff and that they take these like insane positions, even with respect to people who are sensible allies? Like they've always been against liberal Zionists, always. This is not something, they say vicious things to liberal Zionists. I just don't understand what the basis of surprise is, these kinds of unhinged views regarding liberal Zionists or two-state solutioners who believe in Israel as a Jewish state. That is like not new. That is as old as apple fucking pie. And so the basis that, oh my God, they all turn on the liberal Zionists. Yeah, the left is unhinged on this shit a lot of the time. And that shouldn't be a basis of surprise. Now, is it unhinged and still wrong?
Well, I think the real life harassment, that was a weird pivot, but whatever.
I don't even agree with snarking in the first place, where you have this kind of like obsessive focus on a particular person. I have no issue saying that.
I hate it.
But there's this thing where like two wrongs don't always make a right? Just because, and I think you would grant this, if they're lying about him, do you think that we should lie back in response?
Oh no, I don't.
Right.
Think
so
is it lying about the motivation for a lawsuit or lying about them?
Just knowing that a party is wrong doesn't resolve the answer. That's what, like, there's two parts of the equation. First is, were you wrong, and is your retaliatory action justified? You have to consider both. And anyone who soys out, I don't really care about the justification part. I just care about the initial aggression and not whether or not the reaction is justified in light of the initial aggression as to the means by which the response is dictated and the target of the response. That is just an excuse not to think. That's just being a coward fuck. I'm not saying you, but like I'm saying people who say, I only care about that. I don't want to consider other things. They're just being coward fucks who don't, and it's the opposite of what they accuse me of, right? You get plenty of bonus points for staying in line and for saying all the right things according to whatever the in-group preferences of your specific community. I have the opposite. I'm just like, let's consider it even if it pisses off your own audience. So it's actually, ironically, I think the opposite. And as you sit here, is there anything that I just said that you disagree with?
I mean, not like super a lot. Like, I guess the main thing that's kind of frustrating, or like where I sort of feel for Ethan, is like, it's kind of like a question of, well, what the fuck is he supposed to do? How is he going to stop these people from constantly? Because like the level of unhingedness is like, it's off the charts. You know, the CPS call, mailing skulls to his house, the doxing, and I mean, like really, the H3 snark shit, he's been dealing with that for years. It seems like at least part of this lawsuit is him trying to like find the H3 snark mods, maybe so that he can sue them for something else. Although he did complain in the past about the fact that they were like stealing his members only content and then like restreaming it in other places.
I don't understand that either, because like, okay, so if there's a justification, a purported justification that wasn't actually given in the video, right? So what you're saying here, what people will do is they'll do this post hoc rationalizations of the lawsuits that aren't included in the announcement of the video, right? So one that they've done is the CPS call, not included in the video, justifying the trap.
Oh yeah, no, he didn't.
Yeah, right. So another post hoc explanation is discovery rationale, not included in the video. It's unclear to me, A, why we should credit an explanation that isn't actually offered by Ethan and just give like potential justifications. But even if I granted it, do you think it would be fucking justified as a exercise of a fishing expedition to get discovery material on an unrelated case to do the case initially?
No,
regardless. Yeah, so no,
of course not.
Yes, so
no,
this,
of course
even...
not. That's not. Yeah, like I said, I just kind of like I'm not. I told you like I don't necessarily have a super strong opinion about like whether or not the lawsuit was a misuse of the legal system or any of that stuff. I'm just saying that like. I don't know what the hell else he's supposed to do to get these people to leave him the fuck alone.
Listen, I sympathize, but just because there's no quote unquote solution doesn't mean that what you do is therefore justified, right? Suppose that the only solution to get them to shut the fuck up is to run them over with your Tesla. It wouldn't make it justified. So the lack of alternative, yeah, go for it.
I'm just curious, like, because you know more about law stuff than I do. Like, is there actually a legal recourse that he could take that's not like some crazy shit like DMCA stuff? Like, the only other one I can think of is defamation, but that doesn't really work. Or does
to what, right? Like to the CPS call? Let's take each of the things,
not
right?
to that.
Okay.
Oh no, I think honestly at this point I think that Bad Empanatic could absolutely be sued for defamation.
Then why hasn't he?
Definitely by loaner boss.
Then why hasn't he sued him for defamation?
I don't know.
It's an international case. These cases would take a year plus, maybe longer. It's just, like this is such a dumb question.
Apparently
there's a lawsuit, right?
It's probably because he's not in America. It's because
I think he's in Argentina, but like here, yes, it's easier to sue these other people because they're domiciled in America. They're in places where it's easy to do service of process. But there is this thing called the Hague Service Convention, and Argentina is a party to the Hague Service Convention.
Oh my god!
And you can absolutely serve
is
people in
Uruguay?
Argentina. I don't know that Uruguay.
Empanadas in Uruguay now.
You know this? You know this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I know this.
Just do international civil litigation against somebody who's likely broke.
If he's in Uruguay, I'm not sure. There might be some other process that Uruguay provides for out-of-country people. Has he even tried to look into that? I mean, if he has, and there is no feasible alternative, then that still doesn't help you, right? Because you have to sue the people who are responsible for the thing. And on the defamation case, yeah, there could be a case depending on what the statement is at issue. And I think that we should analyze it when the argument is made. When the like that's the thing, right? Everyone brings up these other things like, oh, he's frustrated, he can't get to these people. Well, let's talk about maybe what he can do to get to those people, what kind of methods. But the mere lack of alternative doesn't by itself justify everything. And that's not like
no, I know.
Okay. So talk me out. Like you're saying you don't have a strong view on this case. Do you have any view on this case?
Well, no, what?
Do you have any view on this case?
Oh, on the case. I mean, not. I mean, like, honestly, I could go either way on it, but, like, mostly I'm just tired of hearing about it. Like, it's kind of just been a thing that I've been sort of popcorn giving out. And I do feel bad for you because of the fact that people keep coming at you and the way that you've been misrepresented, especially by, like, people in DGG. I think that's kind of...
Oh, yeah. I mean, here was the position. The position was that when I said at the start to Hutch, do you care about this fucking issue? That was bad faith. That when I clarified between possibility and plausibility, that was bad faith. When I asked, don't you have the burden to show that she neglected her chat and read it and chose not to moderate her? That was taken as bad faith. All these things that if it were done in a different context against a different target, people would celebrate, like, oh my God, you fucking owned it. Like, and then the ascribing of he's audience captured, hopelessly audience captured by people who have no fucking clue what a principled bone is, have no idea how to maintain consistent positioning. And this includes a lot of the commentary class who have examined that video. And I encourage you to go through that video and try to see the examples of bad faith. It's so laughable and preposterous. And I don't give a fuck. I'm going to keep speaking my mind. And if people disagree, the great thing is they're allowed to come into string disagreements and debate it and actually debate it and actually see where you're
not tired of talking about this already.
In a sense, I am, but I'm very debatable in that.
Okay. You understand. This is basically the same debate that Pisco's been having for years and years or whatever on this particular fucking issue, okay? So on December 27th, Queeman does like a react to this debate, right? Wonderful Pisco chatter, super loved member of his community. Can't moderate him or do anything bad because that would be horrible and inconsistent evil, but
the reaction is
oh no.
You guys. The Mossad prefers Patreon anyways. Oh, does it? Well, okay then.
Justified in light of the initial aggression as to the means by which...
So Queeman is bringing up her stream because somebody in Queeman's Discord puts out this. Kalinda, the loner box / Hutch mod lady, talking to Pisco right now, does live streams and uses a webcam. So that Queeman can bring her stuff up and they can start going personal on her.
Which the response is dictated and the target of the response, that is just an excuse not to think. That's just being a coward fuck. I'm not saying you, but like I'm saying people who say,
no, dog, who auntie is that?
I only care about that. I don't want to consider other things. They're just being coward fucks who don't, and it's the opposite of what they accuse me of, right? You get plenty of bonus points for staying in line and for saying all the right things according to whatever the in-group preferences of your specific community. I have the opposite approach. It's like, let's consider it, even if it pisses off your own audience. So it's actually, ironically, I think the opposite. And as you sit here, is there anything that I just said that you disagree with?
I mean, not like super.
So I don't even, Kalinda, I don't actually know how much of this you're aware of. I'm not sure. You might know all of this as well. I so friends that keep tabs on things. So he does a full react to this. Obviously, Queenman's Discord finds her stream, post her stuff in their Discord on December 28th. Okay. Kalinda does another stream talking about stuff. Okay. I think within like an hour, here are the people that join her Discord in order to join the voice chat. You've got Ryle Kittenhouse 2, Just Legal's editor. You've got a guy called Achito YouTube, who is a commentary YouTuber, but it's not actually him. It's Ryle on an alt account. You've got a person called Cheddar, who is another schizo obsessive person called Kosher Kathy, who is they pretend to be Indian all the time. And this person joins the Discord and the voice chat as well. And then you've got another person called CPCA Emergency Government, who's another Queeman obsessive fan and a Dan obsessive hater. All of these people join her Discord voice chat to start arguing with her on stream.
Hello, Cheddar.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so I have some questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, you know about Lorna Fox when he watched the debate between Elon Levi and Mehdi Hassan? Remember that?
Maybe.
When Mehdi Hassan was talking about Palestinian children being sniped in the head.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Are you here to repeat Bad Banana talking points?
No, I don't even watch Bad Banana.
Okay, well, did you see the clip going around Twitter? Are you gonna ask me if like Learnerbox was laughing at children getting sniped in the head? Is that what we're gonna do here?
No, I have a different question actually.
Okay, what?
It's not about Lorna Fox. I don't care about Lorna Fox. I want to ask you: do you think IDF soldiers snipe Palestinian children intentionally?
Some of them probably do, yeah.
Okay, do you think that's bad?
Yeah, that would be a war crime. I just don't think that.
Did they talk about you on here? I don't think they actually talk about me on this. It's just it's just an interesting thing on how all these people are so connected. So this person talking to her right now, for instance, is a person that posts on, I think it was the person who founded my Snark, DGG Snark subreddit. And they're also the person who posted on, so when Blav made his big post on Kiwi Farms, where Blav is like celebrating finding out, who Rose was, or, you know, that she was 17 when we first started chatting or whatever, when I was talking to the person who was running her account or whatever. When Blav makes this big post where he's like ecstatically excited, 0 years old, 1 year old, 2 years old, this person right now that she's chatting with basically copy pastes almost the exact same posts and puts it on Leftovers H3 Snark, right? This subreddit as well. And then this is the person who's talking to her right now. Yeah.
It's like a top-down order that there's a crack sniper killing division or whatever.
Okay.
Or a crack child sniper division or whatever the fuck.
After the ceasefire, you know how many children were sniped just for crossing whatever border that they had? And they called them terrorists. They said terrorists were neutralized on Twitter. It's just 12 and 9-year-old children.
Yeah, I've seen some of that, although I would have to look into that further.
You need to look at it further.
I think these guys chat for a while, and then eventually I think this guy ends up getting kicked from the Discord, this Cheddar guy.
For you. Or like being your punching bag, or defending everything that he's ever said, or like mind reading him.
No one loved Israel. They lost the propaganda war. Free Palestine, and you're gonna cry about it day and night.
Okay, fuck that guy.
Amazing. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, like goddamn. Listen,
I'm still disappointed you didn't call CPS live on stream.
That would have been funny. Listen, guys, I'm willing to have discussions and conversations, but I'm not interested in having discussions and conversations with people.
What? I left?
Yes, I banned him because he was clearly a fucking. I don't want snarkers in here.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just came in to like tell him to shut the fuck up and let a woman talk for a moment.
Okay, well, I mean, Achito, you want to try your hand?
You banned him, so
I'm
out.
By Insomniac, I guess. Achito, are you also a stupid snarker, or would you like to have a real conversation? I have no interest in talking to like fucking crazy or like dumb fuck snarker people who just.
And now the Achito YouTuber, so he's using this guy likes to use other names of famous YouTubers. It's not actually him. This is Ryle Kittenhouse on a Discord alternate account that then comes in to argue with her, defending the last guy who just got banned. And all of these people are here because they were linked from the Queeman server, because they were making fun of her while they were reacting to the conversation that she was having with Pisco.
Are going to bring up drama and start talking about what other streamers think? Or do you actually want to have a conversation? Hello?
No, he's busy writing in chat, I guess.
Check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, but can you at least put like proper voice activation on so we don't have to hear your
Static.
background. Yeah.
Like this doesn't need to be a dog pile or whatever.
Who let everyone else?
It was just crazy. Like he started out seemingly to want to have a conversation, and then he just made it all about dumb internet drama.
Well, you let everyone else in to make it a dogpile, right? You dogpiled him. I don't want this to be a dogpile, but then you dogpiled him, so you're lying, right?
No, I did not make it.
You couldn't handle the conversation yourself.
I
You let in
no,
Nina.
I
Right, you let
joined.
in Nina, who just muddied up the
No, no,
conversation.
I can't
wasn't
join
talking
this
to you.
channel
I was
without.
talking to Kalinda.
Look,
I was
if
talking
you're
to
gonna
Kalinda. You're
accuse
trying to
her
dogpile me
about
right
something
now.
that
How do you know this is Ryle? It's the same voice he's talked to.
Criticism is going to be
Food shops
that
here.
I'm like an AWOG, right? It's like maybe I
Yes.
hate Destiny a lot, but the
Yes.
challenge is
Are we
right is that
talking
my
to
actions
Connor?
never breach past privacy or past any boundaries that would be unacceptable, right? Destiny and you talk about Hassan almost weekly, daily almost, sometimes, right? In some weeks it's like Hassan gets in, says some dumb shit, you'll cover him every single day.
So it's the same person, but now they've joined in another account to pretend to be somebody else. Yeah.
You're trying to dogpile me right now. You're trying to. I was talking to her, and
You're
I'm
accusing
talking
her
to
of something
I
she
asked her a
hasn't
question.
done. You're
I asked
accusing
her
her
a
of something
question.
she hasn't
I asked
done.
her.
Okay,
You're
stop.
accusing her of
Shut
something
up.
she
Let
hasn't
her.
done.
Stop. Everybody stop talking. At least Mina will stop talking when I tell her to, whereas you will not, Cheeto, so I muted you. To answer your question, Mina and Insomniac have perms to come in here, okay? That's why they came in. They will talk and just talk to me. Or like they'll be quiet if I tell them to. But if you're gonna be like the other guy and not actually let anybody talk, then this is gonna last very, very this ain't gonna last very long. Okay?
Well, you didn't ask me to stop talking. You just muted me.
Are you willing
You
to?
didn't ask me.
Yeah, I did. I told you both.
No, you didn't. She did.
I started talking, and then nobody.
She was
would
dogpiling me.
stop.
I felt dogpiled.
Jesus
I'm sorry. I
Christ,
get a little
dude.
anxious. I get a little anxious when I'm dogpiled.
I'm
Okay.
one person.
And then I think in about a couple minutes, I think Kalinda realizes where these people all came from.
I talk to Lonerbox. Why don't you talk to Lonerbox?
Didn't you go on Pisco stream to talk about H3H3? And like maybe we have heard that and wanted to also talk to
Sorry,
you about
because
that?
Pisco wanted to talk about
Why-
HGH.
is Nina
Oh,
continually
that's where you
talking
guys
about-
all came
You weren't
from.
saying anything.
You all came from Pisco stream because that's where all the snarkers hang out now.
I don't watch Pisco, right? I watch other creators.
Queeman.
Well,
Watching
then
Pisco.
How the fuck did you know
Did you not
about...
join?
Yeah,
Did
I
you not
did.
join?
I went to Pisco
Okay,
stream.
so you like talking H3 drama too. So what's
That, no, that actually
you're
was
not drama initiative.
That's not the reason why I went on Pisco stream. I went on Pisco
What did
stream
you
to
go on
talk
to talk
about left-wing anti-Semitism, which you would know if you
What did
actually
you start
watched
with?
it.
What did you start with?
I
What did
asked
you
him
start with
a
to talk about for over
question
an hour?
about the H3. Yeah, the only reason why that went on that long is
Over
because
an
Pisco
hour
wanted to
about
keep
drama.
talking
Oh,
about
I hate
it.
drama, but I'm going to talk about it for over an hour. And then sorry that we come here and have some opinions about it. It's not crazy. There's no
No,
snarking here.
here's-
I just had some opinions that I felt were a little off.
Here, no, here's the
It's just so funny that it's like, oh, you know, we just all showed up because we just wanted to chat about this. We were just kind of curious or whatever. But like, all of them literally were linked from Queeman's Discord. All of them end up joining the Discord at the same time. Some of these people, like the Raul Kittenhouse guy, has literally made fake YouTube accounts. Like this Achito guy, he's impersonating the popular YouTuber, Achito YouTuber. Like they make fake accounts to run in and like either they'll either like spam other people's chats with shit, or they just like stalk people on servers. But anyway, yeah, these people are so fucking weird. They're so fucking weird. But okay, that was my little mini schizogram. And Kalinda was so fucking nice to Pisco. What is their issue? I don't know. It's like a crazy groupthink thing or something. I don't know what it is in relation to the Ethan stuff. If they're like, I actually don't know. I don't even know if it's tied necessarily to me. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But it's so weird. How all of them move, they like blob from server to server, and they blob so fucking hard. And the fact that Pisco is like so willingly retarded or acts just I don't even know. The fact that he's like, oh, wait, I might put you. I don't know. It's just fucking stupid to me. But yeah. Okay. Let's learn about this dude, I guess. They all joined that call in Pisco's voice chat and a bunch that night because I was there to debate me. They're insane. Oh yeah, I think there was it Pisco's Discord server too, where Justico was just in there just like streaming my DMs or whatever related to the row stuff. He was just live streaming them to the whole Discord server, like off stream. Was that in Pisco's server or was that somebody else's server? Oh no, that might have been Wix server. It's like so deranged, yeah. They're literally all in Pisco server like a bunch of fucking rats. Yeah, they do that. They blob from like place to place, and it's just fucking weird. What are you gonna do though? Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Ninja?
Whoa, careful there.
No, I said Ninja.
Isn't it late for you? Are you tired right now?
A shinobi jitsu, like a guy who wears like
yeah,
all black outfits and hangs out and does spy work and stabs people with shurikens.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I've noticed this thing is happening, okay? As Pisco's running around and making the rounds and chatting with everybody, okay? I feel like you should...
Right.
I think that sometimes, I don't know why this is happening with all of his conversations. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but you should try to like cut through or at least like establish some stuff before it gets totally meta. And I feel like there's just never any substance to the conversations he's having. It always gets into this like weird territory. Last time when you guys were talking about making... Like you're kind of like talking about like making a deal with the devil almost, where it's like, I'm going to welcome these people into my coalition, even though we might not agree on some things, and hopefully it'll be okay because they'll never gain political power, right? In a way, this kind of sort of describes MAGA right now, right? Trump started at like 1% and now like everything's kind of imploding. I think that one of the reasons why you guys are not connecting so much on your conversation here, and it might be worth establishing, and maybe I'll be incorrect on this, in which case I guess that's good that he clarifies his position, is I kind of wonder if Pisco just doesn't think it's that bad. Like, if you are having a conversation with...
I get.
What?
That's the vibe that I get. He
Yeah.
just doesn't think... He doesn't think Mamdani's that bad. He doesn't think Hassan's that bad. He doesn't think any leftist is that bad or that politically relevant.
Sure. I'd be careful comparing Mamdani to fucking Hassan. But I think that, like, especially... Okay, well, that's fine. You can do what you want. But I think it might be worth asking at some point, like, when it comes to... Mamdani, for instance... Or I'm sorry, when it comes to like Hassan, like what percentage do you think that you agree or disagree? And I feel like you're starting with the assumption that like you only have you to Pisco. Like Pisco only has 20% in common with Hassan, so why are you so eager to kind of like work with these people in some way? But I think in Pisco's mind, I think it's like 95% similarity. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, but I accused him of that, and he rejected it. I said, oh, well, you know, maybe you're this, you know, cutesy, ooh-woo social democrat. And he's like, no, I don't even like the Scandinavian system. I love the rugged free marketeering of the American capitalist economy, and I think we need to do it our own way. So I kind of accused him of being like 90% overlap with Hassan, and he denied it.
Okay, interesting. Sometimes, I guess I either didn't hear that or I was away for that part of the conversation, but like, it feels like sometimes he'll do this thing where he'll say like, oh, well, I disagree with like A, B, and C, but they're not really like the main points of contention of like, what is it that we're disagreeing with? Like I would imagine for like Hassan, like some of it, or a lot of the disagreement comes from this like inevitable violence rhetoric of like, at some point, the proletariat is going to have to rise up and kill the fucking wealthy capitalist owners. And that's why it's worthwhile to simp for every anti-American, anti-imperialist, you know, in our definition, organization we can find, whether that is, you know, Islamic extremists or whether that's like China or whatever. Like, yeah. But sometimes I feel like you guys will get on this like conversation pathway of, you know, like, well, it's okay to have a chat with Hassan and, you know, it's not a big deal or whatever because, you know, like we push back against some things, but it's like, I don't know what all they're pushing back on. And the examples they give just aren't that relevant sometimes. Like I thought, like, well, as an example of that real quick, the conversation that you guys had about the Rokana, I thought was really weird. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think I do perceive it differently than you guys. I probably have like a more hostile attitude towards the social democrats, and it's not because like I'm viciously opposed to social democracy, right? Like if I could snap my fingers and we could have like this technocratic utopian society with a robust welfare state and every put in their fair share and we had high taxes, but realistically everybody had good lives, then I don't think I would freak out if we could get that. I just think that there's some things in America that make that not very likely. I also think that we have a more independent culture than the Scandinavians do. And I kind of like that about our independent culture. But it's not like a moral freak out for me. My problem, though, is that when it comes to social democrats in the modern politosphere, they seem to... The tankies, and I say tankies, and I mean tankies, the authoritarian communists or the people who do apologia for authoritarian socialism and communism, they're basically like sock dems in the streets and revolutionary socialists in the sheets, and they say so openly. And so I don't like it when the liberals, the progressives, and the social democrats are like, oh yeah, Hassan's not that bad, you know, Denims isn't that bad, Frogan isn't that bad, Mamdani is not that bad. I know you're saying don't throw them into the same basket, but I do throw them into the same basket intellectually.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean,
because I think Mamdani advocates for social democracy because he knows that it's popular, it's economic populism. But realistically, I think if he could snap his fingers, he would be a revolutionary socialist if he could. He just knows he can't.
Sure. I haven't listened to maybe enough Mamdani to have like a super strong opinion about it. I get my opinion of him is it feels like he wants to govern more effectively. So I don't know if he would be that extremist. Maybe he would, and if he would, I'd be against it. I am sympathetic though towards your feelings about even like social democracy. Like I don't know if I even identify as a social democrat anymore. I think I am, but it's just everybody that uses that word just basically ends up being like a fucking hardcore populist tanky, and it's like I don't even want to be a part of whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah, and
that's
that's what they do, right? That's the argument whenever they're in public. They're like, oh well, I just want cheap public transportation for the working class, and I just want everybody to have medical and dental. But then like you watch their podcasts where they're hanging out with like revolutionary ML ideologues, and they're like, oh yeah, I can't wait for the fucking revolution and the rapture and this, that, the other, and you know, America is an imperium drowning in blood, and I can't wait for these monsters to die. And it's like, dude, I'm relatively speaking an apologist for American imperium. I actually think that like American liberal empire is fucking based. So these people are my ideological enemies.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Also, all of these other people that they tend to champion were all imperialists as well. Some of them just lost at it, right? Like when people talk about like, you know, like Arabs or Muslim history and they seem to ignore all of their imperialism, or the Soviet imperialism they completely ignore. It's one of the reasons why, I don't know if you've picked up on this or not, but like when you hear Hassan talk so derisively about Polish people, that's one of the reasons why, or Ukrainians sometimes, is because anybody that was part of the old Soviet sphere.
Anti-Russian independence.
Well, yeah, and because they fucking hated the Russians, because and this is true of every like Soviet satellite, ex-satellite state, is that they were basically forced at gunpoint, or sometimes tanks were rolling over them, like in Hungary, in order to force them to acquiesce to Soviet control, or like they tried to do in Afghanistan or whatever else. But okay.
Well, and that's my frustration, is because like I feel like I was frustrated with you a while ago, but I think that you've gotten over your anti-history analysis. I've heard you talk a lot more about history recently, or at least say that you enjoy the topic a lot more. But I think one of my frustrations with like people being ignorant of like 20th century history is they do that like uwu cutesy kawaii thing where they're like, no, I'm not a Soviet. No, I'm not a Maoist, but let me go ahead and engage in apologia for these regimes. And it's like, okay, bro, do you think that it was a good idea, or do you think it was a bad idea? And then also, if we just boil it down from the Marxist sense, do you think decommodification of basic human needs and workers owning the means of production is a good idea? Yes or no? Right?
Sure.
Like that's it. Yes or no? And if you answer the question yes, then, you know, fuck you. You're not on my team.
Yeah, and you have to follow that a little bit more too, because the problem is that like that world necessarily entails like a lot of physical violence, but they try to escape that. They'll say like, oh no, I think we should have the decommodification of all these things, and we should like redistribute wealth through society, you know, from all the wealthy people. But I don't think we should do it violently. But then if you start asking them things like, well, hold on, don't liberals always side with fascists? And it's like, well, yeah. Don't the police exist to protect capital interest? Well, yeah. Well, aren't capitalists going to murder the proletariat to maintain their wealth? Well, yeah. So how the fuck are you going to get the wealth from them? Just by voting? Well, no. So like you can walk them through it, but yeah, it's a very dishonest way, I think, that they try to frame it. But
well, that's what pissed me off. Like, I know I always mix up Econoboy and Sock Done Left. It's Econoboy. When he finally had, because we had that whole thing where we were throwing elbows a few months ago with like how cozy the liberals and progressives in the Live and Learn podcast were being like cozy with Vanguard and shit. And Econoboy was kind of like the lightning rod for that. Well, finally getting Econoboy to like articulate his idealized world. His idealized world is still that you go to a government-run bank to apply for a government-approved loan for a government official to specifically approve of your entrepreneurial idea, and there's no private market to appeal to.
Sure.
And so as a result, like why would I want to combine, if I actually believe that capitalism and free markets are one of the most like vibrant engines of human creative destruction that have ushered in an unparalleled era of wealth, why the fuck would I want to take the free market and combine it with the DMV?
Sure.
That sounds like the dumbest, most cringe, like ripe for abuse, potentially authoritarian system I could think of. And yet he's like, no, I'm uwu kawaii. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, but yeah, even on the mechanics of it all, it's the fact of the matter is that a lot of these people are necessitating violence, but they seem to try to run from that at the end of the day, which is annoying. But if you ever find yourself in another one of those like weird meta, if you ever find yourself in one of those meta conversations about like allying with people or supporting people, I think sometimes it's good to back up and do like a sanity check, because the reason why I think the conversation gets so far away from where it seems it should be is because the other person just doesn't think that they're actually compromising that much with the other side, and then it's like, and then that's why it seems so weird. That's my takeaway from it, but yeah.
Yeah, at the risk of repeating ourselves or whatever, or looping, I'll just say, I do think that he doesn't think it's that bad. But if you confront him on ideological differences, he will say that he's ideologically different. And then if you do say that these people are using you in order to try to get as many liberals as possible to drift further left in the Overton window, then he say, no, I'm using them. And I think that, you know, at least that's how he justifies it. That might be how he earnestly believes it. But I made this analogy and I think it's apt. Like, right now, we are on the right wing. We had a house cat, and we kept feeding it and feeding it and feeding it until it turned into a giant leopard. And now that giant leopard is eating our fucking face. And I'm looking over at the left wing, and I see Pisco petting a house cat that looks like it could become a leopard, and he's feeding it. And I'm saying, hey, don't feed that thing too much, or else it's going to get super big and it's going to eat your fucking face. And he says, well, who are you to judge me? Your face is getting eaten right now. And it's like, yeah, no shit. That's why I'm warning you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all, yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I was actually getting ready to go to bed, so was there anything else that you wanted to yap about?
No, that was it. I love you. Have fun, be careful.
Yep, love you too. Be
Bye.
easy.